Welcome back to Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for the preview of the World Championships 2025 road race, both the men and women's. We do have the under-23 women's and men's coming up in the next couple of days. Maybe we'll give a quick word on maybe who will win them, but this is primarily about the elite road races, which are this weekend. They are in Kigali, Rwanda. We had the TT so far. Remco dominating the men's TT, and Marlon Royce are much the same in the women's. And all those riders have now got a week to acclimatise further in Rwanda. Some other riders flying in recently. We've seen Ferron Prevost fly in yesterday. So maybe the TT riders have an advantage. I don't know. We have, though, 2024. Where was 2024, Benji? What happened?
Zurich. I feel like I had the same thought process as you did when you thought about 2024. Pogacar won, but where was it? Not exactly a memorable World Championships, and sadly, because of the passing of Muriel, it was definitely a race memorable for the wrong reasons. Now, that race, for the men's race at least, we had a parcours that was quite climby again, and Pogacar attacked with about 100 kilometers to go. In doing so, attacking across to Tratnik, who was ahead already from before that, and Tratnik plus Pogacar outpaced the Belgian team, which was sabotaged by Wellens, in my personal opinion. And then Group 2 Syndrome arrived in the second group as well, and the second group never came remotely close. Maybe a little bit in the last lap and a half, where there was a moment of that doubt of Amstel, where they could come back together, stuff like that, but it was all in our heads, and Tadej Pogacar won dominantly the World Championships 2024, and the big question is, can he do it again this year? That is what happened in the men's road race last year, and Remco Evenepoel was kind of a Group 2 individual in that race last year. But how do you feel about last year's race, thinking towards this year's race? Does what happened there matter for the tactics of this year? For example, will Belgium realize we should not let Tratnik ride up the road, stuff like that, hypothetically?
I think it definitely matters, and I think there's a reason why Pogacar went in the first place at 100k's to go. It's not a coincidence. It's not because he thinks it's funny. It's not for a laugh. He goes with that time to go for a reason, which is he's not on the strongest or deepest nation on these hard courses typically, especially if Tratnik's not in great shape. Tratnik was in good shape last year, although we do have Roglic here as well, but if Pogacar waits for 60k's to go, for 50k's to go, he will run out of teammates. France will start attacking with 3 guys. America, although McNulty's not coming, but yeah, all the other second-tier favourites will just start attacking him, and he'd rather be on the front foot. He'd rather get us to the breakaway, convince them to work with him for a lap. Maybe he's got a trade teammate to work with him for a lap. And like he had in Zurich last year, or even Tratnik, and then decide the race. So Belgium, it's pretty obvious, can't let that happen. And yeah, there's just to me, there's a first mover advantage. If Belgium are in the break with Van Wilder, with a good rider, with France, with a Denmark or whoever, it doesn't matter, anyone but Pog, then it's all on Slovenia.
I think that's a great take, and I think I want to dive into the profile first to dive deeper into what you mean with going early, what you mean with fast mover advantage when we see that in the race, because the parcours this year when it comes to the men's road race is about 268 kilometers, I think, and we've got quite a few climbing altitude meters in there. 6,000 altitude meters was the hype, the vibe on the internet in the last couple of weeks, immediately making people think, okay, it's a mountain parcours. That's not exactly what it is. I've said this before already. I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but Greg van Avermaet won Olympic road race on a parcours with 5,000 altitude meters. So that shows that the altitude meters alone don't necessarily just specify who can win on a parcours like this, but it is still a parcours that definitely fits Tadej Pogacar. Otherwise, he would not be the favorite. And it exists out of, I would say, 3 phases. It's maybe weird to divide it in 3 phases, but the first 150 kilometers, there's 9 laps of 2 climbs, Kigali Golf and Kimihurura. Sorry, I had to train that for a while, 3 hours today, but I made it. I made that pronunciation work. And those climbs are not the longest. We're talking about, I think, 800 meters and 1.3 kilometers in length, but the Kimihurura climb is the pinnacle cobble climb of each lap. So that's the one where stuff will definitely happen on this parkour for sure, but you've got those first 9 laps in the first 150 kilometers, but then in the next 30 kilometers, you've got a bit of an off-circuit moment. And there we go to the Côte de Péage, one of the climbs from the time trial. We do the Mont Kigali, the longest climb of this entire race, and that Mont Kigali climb is the longest climb of the parkour. It is about 6 kilometers-ish at 7% roughly. It's not a steady climb. There are steeper parts towards the end, especially the last kilometer goes up to, I think, 14% in places. So there are some steep sections on this climb. There's also flatter parts on this climb, but this is the one long climb we have on this parkour, because after that climb we go to the Mur de Kigali, which is a small climb but a well-known climb, a mythical climb, I would say, in cycling, from the Tour de Rwanda, a cobbled climb. It's only I swear it's like 400-500 meters in total maximum if you count the run-in. That's just after the Mont Kigali, and then we go back into the circuit. 7 laps of, again, Kigali Golf and Kimihurura. So okay, I ruined the pronunciation there, but my first pronunciation was better, okay? So in total, we've got 16 laps, roughly, of these 2 climbs, with in the middle of it, Mont Kigali and Mur de Kigali, that break it up. Do you see that as the 3 phases of the race, and where do you see the race opening up, Patrick?
Pog's going to go on the long climb. It's 13%, 14% for the last 900 meters. So he's going to go on the long climb, 100 Ks to go. There's then a 300 meter 15% wall after the descent, where what happens is he opens the race, right, on the steep section. Maybe one guy or 2 guys go with him, a Quinn Simmons or Louis Barret for Montreal, a Quinn Simmons almost in Zurich. Doesn't matter. 2 guys go with him. Fine. He does a descent. Everybody else, because it's so steep, has no domestiques pretty much. So it all is just isolated leaders. Then you have a 300 meter 15% wall. He just drops the remaining guys that are with him. And then that completely disrupts the chase because it's so steep. So then you get to the top of the Mur de Kigali, 100 Ks to go. You've done 2 wall efforts. Full gas, you have no teammates. Matthias Skelmos is sitting in your wheel, not pulling. That's what Pog's going to try to do, I think. Because otherwise,
I think that's a fair assessment.
If Roglic isn't good, like on top shape, who will Pogacar have after the Mur de Kigali for 100 Ks?
I agree with you, and then it also comes to the point of, like, what happens? Let's say he doesn't go and is without teammates. Is there a chance that Belgium just takes over the role of controlling what's left, and in so doing, actually starting to help out Pogacar? Because if that happens, they should be ones that try and use that situation to try and get ahead, you know?
Belgium, unfortunately, I feel like they will default to controlling the race beforehand, because that's what Remco did in Liège, no? Or Flèche?
Yeah.
Remember in Flèche or Liège, they were like doing the hard work for UAE and Pog. We're like, what's going on here? So I have a feeling that, Sivakov and France and Alaphilippe might have good intentions, but if you have Victor Kampenaerts riding behind you instead of Jakob Primožič, it makes your job a bit harder because, you look at the depth of those 2 teams, the 2 favourites, by the way. Pogacar is the odds-on favourite. Remco's $3.50. Del Toro's 3rd favourite at 10-1. Pidcock 4th favourite at 16-1. Ayuso 16-1. Healy 25-1. Schelmoser 25-1. Carapaz 28-1. Vine 28-1.
How much of Ayuso being that high up is dependent on his verbal talkings in the media the last couple of days, hyping himself up?
It's because he's called one Ayuso.
Because, like, him winning the World Championships, drama level-wise, would be epic for the sport. But on the other hand, performance-wise, yes, he's won breakaway stages at the Vuelta, but to call him a top 5 favorite for this World Championships, I don't instantly have either, you know?
He wasn't that good in the Vuelta. I know he won a breakaway stage, but he wasn't that good either. In one-day races, he's been very good. He's won one-day races before in Drôme this year or Ardèche. He's won La Guelia. He's quite fast in a small group. But to win, I mean, it would be so funny. It would be the funniest outcome of this race. Ayuso winning. I pray it happens. But I don't think it will. Javine, 9th favorite, 28-1. Roglic, 50-1. Alaphilippe, 50-1. Ciccone, 50-1. Sivakov, 100-1. Only 100-1. Kristen, 100-1. Van Wilder, 100-1. And I'll stop there.
Where's Healy?
Healy's 6th favorite, 25s. Okay.
For me, Healy's like one of those riders. We'll get through the countries and individual stat strategies and riders in a second, but Healy's one of those riders that shows up in my head. Okay, this rider could suddenly be riding for a 4th, 3rd place, like a Quinn Simmons as well, by being in an attritional race, which I think we need to talk about more than just the parkour here, Patrick, because riding in Kigali, it's not riding in West Flanders on sea level. The entire race is on 1,400 altitude meters. If my math is correct, normal oxygen levels in the air on sea level is about 21%. At roughly 1,400 meters, I think that's about 17.5 to 18% oxygen levels. How does that affect the riders? Does that suddenly make the mountain goats like Carapaz better on this parkour?
I guess it makes riders who are better at altitude, better in theory. It's not high altitude, but it definitely has an effect because it's a high average altitude for an entirety of a race like this. It just makes the gradients harder because, there's less oxygen in the air, especially when you're doing these absolute walls. So how do they recover after max efforts? I don't know. But for example, Ben Healy, if you're looking at Luxembourg, which a lot of these favorites or second favorites have done to prepare for this race, Ben Healy started a bit slow. He was good in the TT, and then on the final stage, he was actually very good, where he came second. Roman Gregoire won that. He's not here for France, which is somewhat surprising to me. McNulty was good there. He's not here either, nor Aurélien Paris-Peintre. Carapaz was pretty good in Luxembourg, and he's been doing a lot of one-day races in Italy beforehand, so maybe he is preparing for a World Championships, which in theory, because the altitude suits him. Schelmoser, he was the best probably in the road stages in Luxembourg. He won the hardest stage on stage 3. He only lost GC because of the time trial, which McNulty was superior in. So there's just different form lines coming in. You've got the guys from Canada. You've got the guys who also did Luxembourg. You have the Italian minor classics where Del Toro's been dominating. You got the Vuelta guys. How do you compare and match all those form lines against each other? It's quite tricky. I was gonna say 5,000 meters schmeters, but then when I see how steep these climbs are, how long the Mur de Kigali is, when they're gonna kick off, I don't like the classics guys anymore. Then I like the Ben Healys. I like the punchers.
I'm getting vibes when I look at this parkour. Initially, my thought was okay. Lots of cobble climbs, close together, lots of altitude meters. I thought some type of Tour of Flanders shit, but I'm leaning more towards an Amstel Gold Race with cobbles, and I think Remco said the same a couple days ago. That's the vibe I'm now getting by looking at this parkour in-depthly. And you said it earlier about the altitude, etc. I think it's just going to make the race that level harder. Yes, maybe some riders fit better with this altitude, whatever, but the main effect is going to be that riders are going to step off the bike earlier than in normal flatter parkours. We're going to see so many DNFs halfway the parkour on the Mont Kigali already. The lap after that, the race is going to be very attritional, is my expectation. And as a consequence, like you pointed out earlier, the expectations then are also okay. We're going to see early attacks in the race, not in the first 20, well, we're going to see early breakaway attacks in the first 20 kilometers probably, but do you see there's a world where you've spoken about these riders, like all these outsiders? Do you see a world where I think it's a logical world. I think outsiders can't even wait for the Monkey Gali really 100%, no?
No. And I mean, let's go Slovenia's team. So the overwhelming favorite, this is his team: Galglivar, Govacar, Mezgec, Moric, Novak, Jaka Primozic, Primoz Roglic, Matic, Zumer.
Ouch.
Yeah, so that's his team. Schelmo's, the Danish team's not very good, actually. Like, Honore can sometimes be good here and there. Kamp is good in Amstel here and there, but really, maybe Honore is on a good day, but Shamig was good in Canada, actually. Yeah, I underrated them. I think their names aren't that hot, but they're actually, some of those guys are performing pretty well. I basically think Belgium should open the race, just make it hard early. So just isolate. What if Roglic is in bad shape? Also, is Roglic going to ride all out for Pogacar? I don't know.
Do you remember?
I don't know.
Year?
I would ask the question.
Because Roglic was there last year, finished top 70, but he might have been there on the last climb where Pogacar attacked, but I don't vividly remember.
But Pogacar does not have like the UAE super team. In Canada, he has Sivakov, McNulty, Narvaez, Wellens. Like, you can't anticipate. You can't do anything. With Matic Zumac.
Matic Zumer, my friend, come on.
Yeah. If you attack with Louis Barret, with Marco Frigo, with Ilan van Wilde, with Victor Kampenaerts, you're not doing anything. So, I think they just isolate, make it hard, couple of laps really early, isolate him, and then start to attack with your second tier riders, and then put Remco and Schelmos in his wheel.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, because at the end of the day, the strength of the Belgian team, talking through their riders then, whether it's a Kampenaerts, Hermans, Meurissen, Uitenbroeks, Van Wilder, Vermeers and Vervaeke. Vervaeke came in to replace Tige Benoot, who was sick in the run-in towards this race. So that's a swap around. Benoot is a rider that would have been very relevant on a parkour like this, I would say, but Vervaeke is not a pancake either, so I don't expect him to be horribly weak and useless in this race either. But riders like Kampenaerts, riders like Van Wilder, who podiumed the time trial, I expect that rider to be on level in this race. And then if you look at this team then, Patrick, and you say, okay, try and make the race hard before we get to Monkey Gali, are you already saying, jump with a Van Wilder, or is that too much?
No, it's not too much, because when you jump with anyone in a Belgian jersey, then you're probably going to have a Quinn Simmons going in. Maybe Ben Healy.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Oscar Onley. Because, like, if Pidcock's a protected rider, then Britain might jump with Fred Wright. Good course for him.
Blackmore.
The Netherlands would, with Blackmore. The Netherlands will jump with Frank Vandenbroek, with Tymon Arensman. You've got Michael Storrs very aggressive, and he'll jump because Michael Matthews will ride a bit more defensive. Ivan Romeo for Spain, or Ruja Adria, maybe even Ayuso. And then Jan Christian won't be able to help himself. And all of a sudden, you could have a nice group ahead. And you better actually have a good rider in it, no all due respect, than Vervaeke. It's better to have a Van Wilder, because also Van Wilder is actually the exception because he did do it this year in Amstel, but so maybe you keep Van Wilder behind, but basically once Pogacar goes, domestiques are not useful anymore.
Yeah.
Because they can't ride, they can't do anything. Especially if he goes where I say he will, where basically it's multiple walls back to back to back.
But
on the last circuit, they do help because it's only 800 meters, 8%, and then like a false flat downhill where a domestique would make a big difference.
I think so as well. But going into these teams and so forth, if we then look at Remco Evenepoel and Tadej Pogacar, do we at any point have any doubt about Pogacar's shape after the Canadian Classics and the ITT?
Not really.
Me neither, really.
Pogacar was never good in the World Champs TT.
Well,
and then he said he said he didn't have time to do the TT training because of his sickness.
But that also takes away a little bit of time towards the road race when it comes to perfect preparation, eh?
I think if there was a road race he wasn't going to perform in, it would be this one because it's a different environment, because it's at high altitude, because he is the humidity. It's just a different environment. In Switzerland, where he's in Zurich, which is near Italy, where he always performs, and maybe it's not a problem. But if there was one that's a different environment, maybe this would be the one. But I think you have to go in expecting him to be in top shape, because also in Quebec he looked not spectacular, and then Montreal he was.
I've been boots on the ground, not physically, but insider-wise, and I've got information to bring Patrick. Turns out that Remco, a bodybuilder, is supposedly said to be an illusion. It's apparently the shoulders of the jersey that make it look like that, is what I'm hearing from inside the Belgian team. Do we believe that or not?
Well, why then? Yeah, well, why you got his sleeves rolled up the whole time then, Remco?
I don't fucking know.
No, I'm telling you, he grew his biceps to be more aerodynamic in TT position.
So, but how much is aerodynamic biceps going to help you on this part? Hypothetically, in your theory world, how much is it going to help on this parkour, on that false flat downhill after the 800-meter climb in the circuit,
and gripping the bars on the steep cobble climb? I think having big lats maybe could help. So I think Remco's I just hope Remco rides aggressive, and no offense to him, but I think Remco has a very big chance to win. He can win. His biggest chance to win is not treating Pogacar like his equal. If he says, we're both the big favourites, we will control like you, I'll just race you mano a mano, I'm not sure that's his biggest chance to win.
I agree with you half and half, in the sense that I agree with you that he shouldn't focus his entire race on Tadej Pogacar and being ready for Tadej Pogacar's attack. My belief is that he should ride his race to his strengths, but not necessarily focusing all out on Pogacar. But the way he won Wollongong, etc., those victories kind of came through an Olympics, you're right. Well, Olympics was kind of like a group dynamic attack as well, so it's not exactly the same as, for me, Wollongong, where he then attacks together with a teammate into an early action. Stuff like that. That's riding a race without over-focusing on Pogacar. And then last year he just straight up wasn't sitting in a position that is competitive on the climb where Pogacar attacked, so don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, because if Remco, in Amstel Gold Race, Remco would chase Pogacar down on the rolling flat terrain. And so Remco and Belgium have to create a situation where Remco is ahead of Pog by 5 seconds on the flat and goes all in, or a rolling section, and then he has a big chance to win. If you let Pogacar attack first and dictate the race, and then you get caught in a situation where Shelmos is on your wheel, where Alaphilippe's being weird, then and you don't have a teammate, then it makes things more difficult for you. So that's why I think Belgium should really try to dictate the race, because they do have the strongest team.
Dictate, but not control, is how I define it. They should
exactly
try and play on the strength of the team weakness of Slovenia by dictating the moves even before Monkigali, or inserting themselves in those moves to try and force Slovenia into working before the Monkigali, and then obviously what follows after, but the weaker the team around Pogacar is, the earlier he might be likely to attack, and the earlier he attacks, there's always a chance of overextending in doing so. It's also a chance of Group 2 syndrome when he does that. But the difference with last year is, if you look at the parkour and you say, okay, Pogacar's going to attack on the Monkigali, Remco Evenepoel if he's not in position on that climb, I'm sorry, but then you're giving it away.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's no excuse. And it could be, if the race is already made hard, the positioning might be easier as well. I want to run through some outsiders who are maybe not on the strongest teams. I'll go with Tom Schoens. He was actually in good shape in Luxembourg, on Latvia. Of course, Binny. It's probably the closest World Championships he'll ever have to his home country, Eritrea. He comes with Henok, pretty good rider. Tesfatsion, he's in good shape. Kudus, Mulubran, Gebregsgebir, and Zerai. So for Binny, yeah, it's a big race. Even though a medal would be huge for him. We already went through Dunbar Healy. Del Toro's got 2 teammates. I think, yeah, Del Toro has to probably race in those extra early groups that are going.
That or
Leknessund,
having is there a world in which Del Toro has the confidence that if Pogacar goes and he's on the wheel that he can follow?
No, not allowed to do that.
What do you mean? He's not allowed to do that. Why? Oh yeah, because it's Del Toro. But hey, other question. We joke about Narvaez, McNulty, Wellens not being here, and I think Narvaez is more related to the fact that he can't stand, well, I'm not sure who can't stand who, but Carapaz and Narvaez are in a bit of a pickle after the Paris Olympics, I would say, in terms of their personal relationship. McNulty and Wellens, I'm not surprised Wellens is not here. I questioned his loyalty at the World Championships road race last year with the way he was riding after Pogacar attacked. McNulty's not here in a parcours that would 100% fit him, so also a questionable decision. What if Del Toro and Pogacar go up the road with Remco Evenepoel? Do you consider that 2 versus 1? Or is it 1 versus 1 versus 1?
It's 1 versus 1 versus 1.
Okay.
And in the event that Pog attacks,
yeah,
Del Toro will lean on Remco, and that's probably the right thing to do.
I think that's fair.
How does Schelmoser win Amstel?
By leaning on Remco. But oppositely.
By leaning on, like giving a pull here and there, maybe 20% of the work, but leaning on Remco, and then, Remco's the only one that can actually bring Pog back. I'm now actually fresh enough to sprint. If he pulled 50-50, Schelmoser would have been fucked for the sprint. So I think Del Toro playing it like that is totally legitimate for his own cards. I mean,
I agree.
Why would he do anything different? So, because also Remco's a bigger favorite than him. But he's got to follow first. So yeah, Del Toro's obviously a big chance. We mentioned Ayuso, no idea what to expect, frankly. Adria was good in Worlds last year, I think, in Zurich. He was
correct
11th on a hard course. So we'll see how he goes. Yeah, Schoens was 4th last year, so yeah.
Where's
for the Swiss, they have
again.
Carapaz like 5th favorite.
Yeah, doesn't actually surprise me.
In Luxembourg, he was okay.
Before that, not good in Italy Line Classics.
Yeah, in Italy, I wasn't that impressed, to be honest. Australia don't have Ben O'Connor, he came 3rd last year or 2nd last year. They got, Plapp just has to attack really, really early. Same with Storer and Vine. Simmons was very good in Montreal, so Simmons I like. France, I think France might be the deepest team. Like, any of these guys can get ahead in a strong. Jagat was very good in Luxembourg. Alaphilippe won Quebec. Barret was good in Montreal. Bernard strong. Madouas, VPP, Seychas, Sivakov. It's a really deep team. All of them have to get ahead early. Italy, Baggioli, he tried to follow Pog last year. Catania, Ciccone. Ciccone's... Does he race? He hasn't raced since the Vuelta. Isn't his arse in pieces?
I don't know. I generally don't know. I thought he had a saddle sore injury or something.
Yeah. Fortunato, Frigo, Masnada, Garofoli, Sobrero. I think, Ciccone, in theory, well, he's one of those guys who could, but I don't see it on the cobbles, frankly.
Yeah. I don't necessarily see that either, and it's not... It's not easy cobbles either. Like, we're not talking about a Denmark city cobble carpet on the road kind of vibe. We're talking about camelback-like cobbles here in Rwanda. I haven't tested them myself, but these are the words by actual cyclists who wrote the time trial. So they're not easy cobbles either. So we're talking about a parkour that is already hard because of the climbing, and it gets harder because of the actual cobbles itself. So it's actually ridiculous how hard the parkour could be on Sunday. The more you think about the cobbles being that extra added factor on top of the altitude meters as well, on top of the recurring climbs, consecutive climbing, etc. But I agree with you on the potential podium candidates. Like, you mentioned Simmons. Wouldn't shock me if he's on the podium, if he's third or something. Healy wouldn't shock me if he's on the podium. Carapaz, if I didn't see his Italian Classics results over the last month, I'd say could be fighting for the podium. I'm feeling it a little bit less after seeing his run in towards this race not really being wow. So that's the thought process there. Wouldn't shock me if Del Toro's fighting for the podium. Those are the thoughts I get here, but is it me, or do I look at this and we've got on paper two favorites, Remco Evenepoel, Tadej Pogacar? Whether you put them in each direction, Tadej Pogacar is the betting favorite, but Remco Evenepoel had the better time trial. Some people might see that as the better form. Like, you've got those two at the top, then you've got the podium candidates, but there's not that many I can name either for just the top 10. I'm talking, there's 20 riders that come into my head.
Yeah, I think the top 10 is pretty competitive when I see how many good riders were in Luxembourg and Canada. Like, why can't... Yeah, Quinn Simmons should top 10, right?
100%.
Healy should top 10.
Del Toro?
Skelmoser?
Yes.
Like, because it's such a hard race, I just think these second-tier guys should all top 10.
Yeah. Because then I feel like there's a bit of a gap to then the next tier in the way I perceive. Like, Andreas Leknesund is one of those riders where, like, on a very good day, maybe he could come close, but that's like just under that top 10 bracket for me. That's like a potential top 20 result, you know?
All right, I think it's time to do... I mean, even like, where's Hirschi's shape? Like, what's young Christian going to do? What's Maro Schmidt? Good course for Schmidt.
Not terrible at the moment.
Yeah.
Not great either.
That wouldn't shock me. Let's do your podium. Or no, first do a couple of really big outsiders for top 10, or maybe, yeah, surprise top 10 guys, or top 5 guys.
Okay. So surprise top 5 guy. I think France is gonna have at least 2 riders in the top 10.
Yeah.
And I'll say 3 in the top 15. I expect a good race by Louis Barret. He could be a surprise top 10 rider. We're not really surprised top 10, but like lean towards the top 5. That's a rider I'm showing up in there. I actually expect a really good race by Jordan Giga, but it depends on whether he goes into domestique role or not. Because on paper, he's not the leader for that team, but he's actually had good form for the majority of the year, I would say. And even at Luxembourg, he podiumed the stage, got second there on stage 3, I think. So that's a name that pops up as, okay, this guy can top 15 this race. But I'm not feeling instant top 5 vibes for France either. It's like, maybe P5 to P10, I expect 2 riders from that team. Surprise top 5. Mate, as much as you've hyped up, to give a bit of a clue to the people watching, but throughout this podcast, my internet's dropped out twice. Patrick's internet has been on a deathbed for the entire podcast, so I have no clue what you just told me.
Said Thymen Arensman, top 10.
Thymen Arensman is a rider that, in my opinion, does well on attritional races.
He's done 4 one-day races in 4 years. I made that stat up, but he does not do one-day races. He doesn't do them.
That's a lie. He's done 5 in the last year, actually. Last 2 years.
Yeah, but he did the Italian Classic, but he never does them in spring. Lucas saying the climbs are too short for him. I think this gets turned into a slugfest and it becomes an endurance battle. and it's not about your 2-minute power anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why I like him. I like the little Dutch truck, Frank Vandenbroek.
Raul Garcia Pierna? After your heroic words about him last time, buddy? Come on.
Nah.
You said he was the new Tadej Pogacar.
I said
I said
he
Del
could
Toro.
be Del Toro. Yeah. And he could.
I can't believe more people didn't call you out on that. I looked at the
Yeah,
comment
because they
section.
know
Nobody
I'm
said
speaking-
anything about it.
Yeah, they know I'm right. I like Quinton
Crazy.
Herman's top 10.
I'm not feeling that.
It's a dark horse top 10.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Fair.
What chance do you think, really what chance do you think that a group can go away that Pog's not in, like Wollongong? Or Quebec even?
The thing is, I think the race is that hard that there's so much time to catch up. So many climbs where that front group will start to deteriorate, and it will need to be a very good rider to be able to stay up there. Like an old school Dylan van Baarle. Like an old school RVV Mes Pedersen in the fast group surviving for so long. Those kind of vibes. Like, only that I see surviving, but on paper the favorite should be able to catch the majority of any group that gets away early, is my expectation.
Yeah, I think so. And then it depends whether he has guys with him or not cooperating. But yeah.
Frigo?
Nah.
Too much climbing?
My podium is Quinn Simmons, third.
Okay. I find that sad
Ben
because I
Healy.
also...
Second, Ben Healy for Ireland/Birmingham. And first, Remco Evenepoel. Pogacar has humidity issues and it doesn't work out for him.
Is it too wet or unwet for him?
It's too much humidity.
Okay, the Wi-Fi killed whatever you just said, so I'll ignore it. I'll ignore what you just said, but okay, your podium is Simmons, Healy, and Remco Evenepoel. Now, I'll be honest, my third place, I was struggling between Quinn Simmons and Ben Healy, so we're on the same page when it comes to that. You've got Simmons in third. I might have done the same, to be honest, but I'll go with Ben Healy finishing third in the World Champ. I'm feeling Quinn. I don't want to change my picks just because you named him. So actually, I'm going to go Simmons third. I'm going to go Pogacar second, and Remco Evenepoel first. And I will say, some of that is Belgian bias.
If Simmons wins, it could be funny. Like, I want to see a celebration, so I hope Ayuso wins, and if not Ayuso, I hope Simmons wins. Because also Remco and Pog have won world champs before. I like new people getting to wear the jersey. So Del Toro would also be fantastic. So would Pog chase Del Toro? With Remco in the wheel?
I think he would also lean on Remco more because you know that Remco is the kind of rider that gets infuriated if people are leaning on him, and he can trigger him doing that. So regardless of who's ahead, you should always lean on Remco.
True. Okay, that's the men's road race. We'll see how it goes. That's on Sunday, obviously. Very, very exciting. And also when it's in a different country, different continent, you can maybe have different outcomes like we saw in Wollongong, although that was Remco winning his first. Onto the women's. It's a shorter race. 165 kilometers long. We don't have the longer climb, so it is just 10 or 11 laps of the Kigali course, which is the Côte de Kigali, as we said, 800 meters, 8.1%, and then the cobbled climb, the Kimihurura, 1300 meters, 6%, some steeper sections in there on the cobbles, which is what it is to the finish. Also, obviously, same altitude. The favorite is Pauline Ferron-Prévot, she who decided to do the race recently, like it was like a late announcement, And wow, I was just seeing the Belgian team. That's crazy. With her in the French team is a pretty strong one. Cédrine Kerbel, Lebu, Marie Lenette, Music Squibon, and Leah Courigny. They don't have Bunel. She's doing the U23 race tomorrow. Are you surprised that PFP is the favourite, Benji, given the strength in depth of the Dutch team?
Wait. We gotta take you back to what you said about the Belgian team. Are you surprised that Belgium is currently signed up with 3 riders? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, I legit was like, that can't be confirmed. They have 3 riders.
So Lotte Kopecky? Lotte Kopecky is not riding it to begin with. Justine Hikira crashed hard in a descent. Fleur Moors got sick. So that's a deteriorated team to begin with. I don't actually remember if it's just 3 people left, but right now it's Meert, Van der Velde and Van Pachtebeke. So I'm not going to talk about the Belgium team here first. We got to talk about what the question you asked me, but it's just a funny anecdote of the start list, in my opinion. Anyway, so you said Ferrand-Prévot versus Belgian team. Can I be honest? I don't even think the French team is that bad. If you look in that team, Kerbel is a very strong rider. Lebu is a very strong rider on a parkour and always is like the kind of rider that can keep on giving. So also very, very valuable there. Meva Squibon, we saw her at the Tour de France winning 2 stages, so not a shit rider either. Evita Music can climb relatively well. Maybe this parkour is a bit too cobbly hilly versus the more pure work that I would expect Music to be slightly better at than the cobbly hilly work. And then the more standard domestiques, and this is a weird way of saying it, but Léa Courigny and Marie Lenée. So I think that's a strong team in itself. It's more the question of, do we expect Lebu to ride 100% for Ferrand-Prévot, knowing that Vollering might lead the Dutch team?
Yeah. I wonder what the French tactics will be, because shouldn't they just ride it like Slovenia and Pogačar rode Zurich last year? Like, Ferrand-Prévot has the best endurance. Just make it a 1 hour slugfest. Launch her 1 hour, 1.5 hours to the finish, so you don't have the Dutch tactics. Now, Vos isn't riding, so there's no Marianne Vos, who this course would be good for. She's not on the confirmed start list. It's Femke de Vries, Kastelein, Marcus Royakkers, Van Anrooy, Van der Breggen, Vollering. But yeah, like, I think for Ferrand-Prévot, having Lebu jump with Van der Breggen and have a representation fallacy, I don't think that's the way to do it. I think they should just make it hard and then make it a 1v1v1 battle with PFP, Longoborghini, and Vollering. I think that gives PFP the best chance to win.
When does it become a representation fallacy, though? Let's say, hypothetically, that World Championships of Pogačar last year, Trotnik being up the road, wasn't really a representation fallacy, was part of the strategy. So I see a world in which sending a rider up the road for Ferrand-Prévot is actually a useful part, as long as it's not a group that includes a super strong Dutch rider like Van der Breggen, for example, being up the road. Those kind of vibes. So I do agree. Well, this is the thing, Patrick. We see that Dutch team. We see Van der Breggen and Vollering next to each other in that list. How do we feel about Anna van der Breggen and Demi Vollering being in the same team after what happened?
I guess it's maybe less complicated without Vos, because you don't have the sprinter anymore, and they just have to try and outnumber PFP and then roller.
Is it weird that I feel like Van der Breggen Vollering, that I might expect more of they're gonna ride their race separately next to each other?
Like, shouldn't they just open the race? Like Femke de Vries, very good in Plouay. But they got Marcus is strong. Van Anrooy is really strong.
Kerbel follows. What now?
No, put in multiple Dutch riders.
Okay.
Like, because FDJ did that with Lebu. Make France do that in Amstel Gold Race. Lebu went in a massive break, and then Vollering was behind as the favorite, and we're like, why are you riding all that with this break? And then Lebu just got beaten because she's not, no offense, but Lebu's not been that good this year.
I am kind of disappointed. It's weird. I am kind of looking at this parkour. I'm saying, I wish there was like a change in the parkour somewhere, whether it is a climb in the middle, like in the men's race, that breaks it up, because it's kind of like a circuit where you can't really point at, okay, the attack is gonna come on that climb, the attack is gonna come on that climb, and that's why here the group dynamics of being up the road are more relevant than when we talk about the men's race. Yes, it's relevant there, etc., but there's less of a clear point to jump towards the front group. In the men's race,
the men's race it's so obvious. It's 100 Ks to go, where the race opened last year. They have the longest climb of the race that has a massive wall at the end and then a descent into another wall.
Yeah. And here we've got consecutive climbs every single lap, and in doing so, consecutive opportunities for riders to go up the road, plus riders to potentially bridge to the group up the road. So the battlefield is the entire terrain. So it's not as easy to say, okay, the race is going to open up here, which makes it more interesting, like you say, for teams to choose to go up the road with riders. And is it me, or did the Netherlands change their coach to Laurens ten Dam? Luke might confirm.
Ten Dam now. I think the Netherlands might. I'm not as worried about them having some sort of shit show, to be honest. But
I agree.
Yeah, for some reason I'm just not as worried about it, or think it's as likely to happen. Italy bring Barale, Gasparini, Longoborghini, Malcotti, Paladin, Persico, Trinca, Colonel. Very strong team, especially if the race becomes hard. They also can get multiple strong riders in a group. Longoborghini is obviously their favourite, who can, when it actually kicks off with the favourites, she can just follow the favourites or be with the favourites. Niewiadoma, Martalak, Perikitko. For Poland, Niewiadoma, one of the best punchers in the world. We'll see how she can go, what her shape is like. She hasn't raced too much since the Tour de France. We have Rosamund Gannon, who was very good in Zurich last year for Australia, and Brody Chapman. For Spain, Mavi Garcia, Ostalaza, their main riders. Baril, Valier, and Jackson for Canada. Zigart for Slovenia, and for Mauritius, Gimlecourt Pinar. Big name for this race.
I was gonna hope that you skipped over Mauritius, because I was hoping to surprise with a last podium pick, or at least for a rider on my podium to be Kimberly Lecourt Pinar, because when you look at her specialty in the sport of cycling right now, it's not the Côte La Madeleine and stuff like that. It's parkours like this, attritional climby races. They can have cobble, she can get over that, and she's got a sprint at the end that outperforms almost everyone. So is it weird to say that? I'm kind of surprised that Kim Lecourt Pinar is not next to the other two riders in terms of favoritism for this race. Is that because she hasn't raced since the Tour de France very well, as in she tried riding Plouay, but she DNF'd. I don't remember what happened there to her, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think her shape is pretty uncertain. I don't think she's had the smoothest run into the race. And the second thing is her team depth. The French team and the Dutch team are very, very strong. And so, how does Chaos... I mean, she just has to gamble, right? Like, if I'm her, you just follow Vollering, Longoborghini, and Ferrand Prévot, and you react on nothing else. Because if you start reacting on Lebu, you'll kill yourself, and it's probably pointless. Like, is Vollering really going to let the race go up the road again?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's that obvious of a no.
All three won't. ELB, Vollering, and PFP won't. All three just sit and let the race play out ahead.
Reusser is also a relevant factor. Shabby, those are all strong riders. Noemi Rug has a sprint for a finish like this, stuff like that. But I'm not seeing an impossibility for Kim Lecourt Pinar to win this race. And I'm now speculating a little bit because I haven't seen every single interview she's done, etc., about this Rwanda World Championships, but it's an African World Championship. So I'd like to believe this is an important race for her personally to perform in it. Fun fact, Patrick. Fun fact. Obviously, this World Championships, the Elite World Championships for the first time in Rwanda is a massive thing. Did you know that this is not the first Road World Championships in Africa?
I didn't.
Casablanca, 1986, the junior men's road race. There you go.
Just the junior one.
Just the junior one. There you go. Random fact for you. I don't know. And I think
it's a bit weird.
And I think the men's and women's race might have been in America at that point. So maybe it's a logistical thing where they don't want to invest that much in a junior race.
Maybe. I think Italy's team's pretty strong. Trinka Colonel was 8th in Liège.
Yeah, she's consistent as well, but then she went to the Tour de France Femmes and maybe expected a little bit more.
Yeah, was she good in Ardèche recently? I think it's going to be... I think it's harder with the uphill finish for KLCP. I think it would have been better if it was a flat sprint, because you always take her against Vollering and PFP and ELB in a flat sprint. I think that slight uphill sprint's not ideal for her. Kerber was also 4th in Liège. Yeah, the French team's strong.
Stronger than you think, you know? It's like, I literally put them on par with Netherlands.
Yeah, without Vos and Pietersen. Like, if you have Puck, Pietersen and Vos, Dutch team is stacked, but they're not here.
Yeah.
So that French team is very, very good. Who knows? Can she really carry her shape from the tour? Like, Ardèche in Plouay, she looked alright.
Sorry, doesn't matter to me. My podium is it's a bit of a default podium. I think there's a realistic chance where we see like a Shabby on the podium or that kind of tier rider that shows up on the podium in the same way that in the men's race we've got a Simmons and a Healy that can fight for the podium. But I am shouting Kim Lecorpina as the world champion. I'm starting with number 1. Aha. And I think Vollering is going to get 3rd. You would argue that PFP can finish 2nd here. And I think I'm going to go with that podium. Then again, I think Brody Chapman's going to top 10.
That would be cool.
Fresh world champion. Our beloved discipline, mixed relay, Patrick?
Exactly, yeah.
Did you watch?
No. But Australia won again. Unstoppable. Come at us.
What did you do in the men's time trial?
We came 2nd.
So you didn't win. So what you're saying is that you're getting sick of Belgium winning too much. But Patrick, we're not going to stop winning.
Luke wanted an emergency podcast for the Dutch juniors winning.
We're going to keep
Megan
winning.
Ahrens and Michelle Morris. You're not. You know that Remco and Belgium are going to just control the race of Pog, and then Pog's
Sunday evening, you're gonna talk to him and you're going to say, Benji, I can't take it anymore. Benji, you're winning too much.
I hope Remco wins. No,
and I'll tell you. We're
like
not
Remco
winning
to
too
win.
much. We'll keep on winning.
Yeah, are you even allowed to win the road race? I mean, I thought Belgium wasn't even allowed into the country.
I feel like we've won it quite a
Rwanda.
few times more than Australia, so shut up, mate. Well, okay.
No, I mean in
I will
Rwanda.
not discuss anything here.
Diplomatic ties were cut.
So I'll be really honest. I missed half of the sentence you just said, but I think you just mentioned the history of Belgium. Is that correct?
Yeah, you something like that. Maybe my internet's getting cut out because they don't want me to speak the truth.
Yeah, the Belgians are cutting your line. I'm British now. Sorry, I'm distancing myself. We shouldn't make light of it though, because it was a pretty horrible history by Belgium.
No, I wasn't talking about colonialism. I was talking about.
Oh.
Jesus.
See, this is the issue of Wi-Fi. I have not heard half of your sentences today. I'm just assuming you're talking about Belgian colonialism.
No, I was talking about you. Didn't you recall your ambassador this year? And
What? Did we what?
and you had you recalled your ambassador this year, and one of the journalists
Your
wasn't
voice
allowed on
has
the flight to
6
Rwanda
frames per
this
second,
World
Patrick!
Championships.
6 frames! I don't hear a single word of what you're saying! Hey there?
We should do our podium.
Okay, I've done my podium. We're waiting for you.
Pauline Ferrand-Prévot wins World Championships and says, "Suck it to the
Okay.
haters." Marlon Royce is second with a very unhappy
pick.
look on her face, and third, KLCP.
Okay. Disaster for the Netherlands.
So-
That is.
Has to.
Then
be.
again, they've
Has
already
to
won
be,
a couple of World Championship titles, but we'll ignore those because Luke wants us to talk about it.
Yeah, the Netherlands. It's too early for them to start rebuilding. They need Puck Peters for that later. All right. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you with the recap of the. Who's your pick for the U23s?
Bro, I did research for the race we're going to talk about, okay?
I'll
For
just
the
go biased pick.
U23s.
Victoria wins by 1 minute. No,
If I do a bias pick, I say Hector Alvarez, but I don't believe it.
Open the women's U23 start list and look at the British and French teams. They are disgusting.
Let me assume the U23 British team here. Eh? We've got Kat Ferguson. We've got Millie Cousins. I'm already saying we're the British. You've got
Imogen
come on,
Wolf.
Imogen Wolf, of course. Florian Perkins, etc. I can see them now. Okay, so
U23 team. What the fuck?
that's ridiculous. I am going for. Like, you take Kat Ferguson, etc. But like,
I think it's hard.
yeah, Kladnova got second in the time trial, if I recall. Was that behind
Baxter.
No, Baxter, yeah, because Arden's won the other race, right?
Yeah.
I gotta stand with my country. Now the question is, which country is my country? Because I look at the Belgian team, I see Laura de Schepper, which is a strong rider. But is she gonna win the U23 World Championship?
Kat Ferguson would top 5 the elite race.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Millie Cousins. Oxfordshire represented.
I'll go Vicky, and then my sleeper is Talia Appleton on Australia. I think she'll podium.
I think that's a fair. She did very well in a race recently, and I can't remember which one.
To 11, yeah.
Yes, correct.
Men's U23 road race.
Men's
professional
race.
riders, the professional riders can't do it, and which is I think still a shame. So, yeah, Vidar against
Ramirez?
Lorenzo Finn Ramirez.
Like, it's too hard for an Alvarez, etc. No,
I don't think so, because they don't do
parkour
the long time.
Yeah.
Shouldn't Barry be good at this? Fuck, he's a junior. He's not a U23.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. Paul Kessler's here, I think.
I should know that.
You should know that. Yeah, you're right. Jakob Söderqvist is here as well.
Söderqvist. Jesus, he's a bit.
You bet OP.
Okay, I got two guys from non-European countries I just want to shout out. They might not do well, but I think they're talented.
Wait. Before you say it, is Hong Kong on the start list?
Yeah, where are my boys?
They're not on the list, I think.
Are they not on?
No, Hong Kong is not riding the World Championship.
Now, my two guys are Winston Maestre on Venezuela. Nah, he's class.
I believe you.
Milkias Maikele on Eritrea. He's on Bike Aid. He's like good rider.
Balin Feldhofer, dropping that in there.
He's good.
Not sure it's really the fitting parkour that I would shout about, but he's a strong rider, that's for sure. But the winner is gonna be.
It has to be nice. Widar. Belgium can't stop. Widar will clean it up, mate.
You're right. Belgium can't stop winning. You've got it. You've got it. We do. I taught you how to say it.
Oh no, but once he turns professional and then it's like Tour de France time, yeah, I mean then he'll be waving at the camera to stop filming him when he's getting dropped on the first climb of the day. But then for the U23 Worlds, he'll be looking good.
Okay. We'll
Widar, all jokes aside, Widar should clean this up. He is a proper good puncher.
It's as if Paul Sixels would be riding this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even if he was, I would still pick Widar.
I think that's fair. You got a real punch.
He has the Redoute KOM ahead of Poggy.
Yeah. Ramirez rode the pro race for UAE team members elite team. I forgot about that. I didn't realize.
Apennino?
Yeah, Industria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, also Apennino, you're right.
Alrighty. That's our preview of all the races. Thanks for bearing with us. And we'll see you with the recaps on Sun.
Hopefully it sounds like an okay podcast. With the Wi-Fi issues.
Luke will fix it, don't worry. Alright, ciao.